Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the Final Fantasy V mobile platform project here, where, as you can tell, over the last couple weeks, actually over the last week, we started adding a lot of detail elements to the project, where we now have some of our celestial bodies in here, we have the books kind of coming to fruition, we've done some scrolls, we've done kind of the platform here, kind of that soft mattressy look, we've detailed in a bunch of these kind of tassels on the bottom. We've started a lot of the detail stuff on here, but we've never actually finished really any of these detail things. So in this session, I was hoping to put this off one more time, but I think, I'll be honest, it's been a long week on my part. Even though the week's like only halfway through, it's been a long week right now, and my brain is not ready for thinking stuff. So we're going to spend this session kind of finishing off some of these things that we've started. I do have, like I said, I have more books to do. I never actually finished the sides of the astrolabe. I'm still missing a part there. So this session is going to be getting on this, and next week I have a number of more fun detailing things to do, but they're going to take some time to kind of plan out. And like I said, I'm not quite ready for that right now, but I have more videos that need to go out. Like this video is going to go out in like another day, so I don't have time to work that out quite at this point. So for today, bear with us. We're going to try to catch up a little bit on a number of things that we have started. So we can think of this as a bit of a recap session, but we're going to do what we can to finish some of these areas up. And first thing I want to do on here is the one that's been bugging me the most for the longest time, and let's finally deal with this. Because if I take the bottom one out, this does sit pretty well. This still takes a little bit, but just need to carve down the bottoms of those little bits so this can actually start sitting the way it's supposed to. So let's go and take one piece at a time. So does one piece fit in there? Yes. Does this piece fit in the way it should? And that's a no. Okay, so seeing that that doesn't fit the way it's supposed to, that tells me that we're already need to put a mask on. First thing I gotta do is put a mask on, so I'm very thankful I'm getting a lot of new kind of viewers watching this over the last week or so, which I'll be honest, I'm kind of amazed with, because all you hear is like this dentist drill kind of sound going on for all these videos. But that said, I'm super happy you guys are showing up and actually watching these, but yeah, just bear with it for one more session. Starting next week, we're going to be changing some things up, and should be a little less of this, and a little more other sounds and whatnot going on, but it won't be this necessarily. But that said, we need to take a little off the bottom here. Alright, that should do that. If we put... No, this thing's not really going to help you too much if my mat is far away, and these guys are the same color as the mat down here. That just tells me bad times are going to happen. So let's... How does that fit? Okay, that's now sitting the way we want it to. Good, so like I said, that one works. This one could use a little bit, but where? Kind of right in the middle here. There's a little bit of a bump. Okay. Yeah, first I want to make sure each thing can sit individually nice and flat in the way it's supposed to. And then we'll put these things together as the group and see how the group works when it's together. Okay, so individually now they fit. So that's a good start. Okay, so now let's try part 1 and part 2 together. Does part 1 and part 2 work together the way it should? Nope. Part 1 and part 2 do not. So I need either you to go up, or it looks like this is a little thicker than the other one. So I can probably just get it with this guy. You know what, I'm actually going to be nice to my hand this time and not jab this into my finger. Because I don't know why I'm thinking about it. Okay, I do know why I'm thinking about it. I just saw my parents, and all I hear is, you're going to hurt yourself. Parents will always be parents. That will never change. And that's part of what makes things fun. But, no, like, as I said before, it's been kind of a long week so far for me. It's been a very physical week. Let's put it that way. It's been just a very physically demanding week. We finally had the inspections at the project I'm working at, so we're able to do sheetrock things, which need to do the fireproofing sheetrock. So it's carrying around. The only stuff we could find was the 12-foot long 5/8 fireproofing sheets we've been working with. And it's been a lot of lifting those things up and down and getting them into place. And then on top of that, if you've been following my ultra training progression, this week is the first week I reintroduce speed back into the mix, at least to some extent during my runs. And after not doing that for about a month, my body's not too happy with me right now. It is thinking I'm making all the mistakes, and I'm just really, really tired at the moment. So it's just been kind of one of those weeks where I'm there, I'm going through the motions, I am getting this stuff done, but like as soon as the clock ends and I'm done with my workout stuff, my body's like, no, we're done. It's over, man. We need to take a rest. So I think once I get through this kind of initial hump on that training part, the body gets used to this new norm we're creating for ourselves. It's going to get better. But for the time being, it's a little rough, and we're still rocking. I could feel where we're rocking kind of right down there. There's a little bump, kind of right there it is. Yeah, you don't understand the difference in weight between just half-inch sheetrock and 5/8 sheetrock. You don't think it's like, oh, it's only an extra 1/8 inch thick. It's not that bad. It's bad. That stuff is heavy, especially when you're not used to lifting that stuff and carrying it around and trying to manipulate it. Okay, we are much better than we were. If I had to, I could clamp that nicely and... No, that doesn't really... If I really had to, I could clamp that and get it to kind of glue together and be nice. But if I can avoid doing that, that would be awesome. Okay, this would sure be nice if you could fit right now, because I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to kind of do. And even if I don't finish the things, I want to spend the time at least showcase several of them together. But this is... Actually, even if I wanted to, I could pop some screws in the bottom of this, because there'll be enough of this here, and you're never going to see the bottom, that would even pull the thing together nicely, because this does clamp really, really well. So, progress on that front, and this is probably where all the problems happen. And I can already see that is exactly where all of the problems happen. So I could try to take a little more off the bottom of this, but I don't want to take too much, because then we're going to get into other kinds of problems. Am I on camera? Kind of. Yeah, no, next week should be really exciting. I have a number of exciting things I want to do next week. It's going to be a big change of pace. We're going to be swapping what we're doing, and I think it should make a really good visual difference in the end, if what I have in my head translates to what's going to happen with the project itself. Big if, but so far I'm actually really happy with this. I kind of wish it was going a little quicker than it was, but same time I am only doing 3 sessions a week, so progress is only going to go so fast. And unfortunately I can't really, I was kind of hoping I could do some elements and kind of paint them real quick, and then do some elements and kind of paint them, but unfortunately it doesn't really work out that way. I kind of do need to finish a lot of these things before I can get into painting anything. So, unfortunately, that just kind of is what it is. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely one of those I would have preferred to do off camera, because it is just kind of, it almost seems like it's a little more busy work, but at the same time, we're just having one of those times right now where it would be nice to have something on camera here that I can do. Okay, we're in range. I can squeeze that tight if I need to, and it works. So that's kind of the main hope I was going for on that. Was that kind of solves. We still have a little bit of rock too, but that generally solves that problem. How are we doing on time? Okay, so we're within 12 minutes right now, so that's not bad for a start. I think the next easiest thing that I can get really quickly done would be, it'd be nice to finish off this patterning I have on here, which, I'll be honest, had the big Christmas get-together / New Year's get-together a week ago. Yeah, I know it's a little bit after Christmas, so I guess just holiday get-together. So I brought this over, and everyone really, this part seemed to be really good. And I don't know if it captures well on camera, but this really does have that kind of soft effect to it, and everyone seemed to enjoy that part of it. So let's actually go and finish that portion off. It shouldn't take that long to do, so yeah, apparently it does have that good kind of mattressy feel to it, it seems. So, like I said, this could be a little more delicate than I have been doing before, if only because I did have to finally put a new sanding drum on here. So this could be a little quicker sanding than it has been before. So I need to be a little more careful on that regard, and just kind of have real delicate touch as I do this. Is that more? Okay, that's more on camera. Probably don't need a glove on for this, but it's there. And I'm going to kind of start as a quick promo for anyone who's still watching this thing 12 minutes in or 13 minutes in, that even if you're not into the fitness stuff that I'm doing on my other project that I'm kind of throwing out the once a week, the training for the Ultra Marathon obstacle course race, the Spartan Ultra, tune in for the first couple minutes of this week's session coming up tomorrow. It's going to be worth it. I'm going to put out a challenge to anybody on here that you don't need to be an ultra kind of athlete to do, but I think it's one of those that's worth thinking about and worth just kind of looking at. So I just say keep an idea open towards that. Tune in for that one. It should be good. I'll put it in the first couple minutes of the session of that one, but it'll be worth tuning in for. I got some ideas that anybody might be able to do, and it might be kind of fun too. I'm not going to spoil things, but next week's going to be special times, and that's going to be kind of my intro to the special times of next week, where I have a number of ideas that can kind of go towards having some good times. Okay, the new stuff is looking very rough on here, but at the same time it looks... I need to move you down more, because I keep moving myself off camera. And again, all the other ones also kind of looked a little rough from the start until I did the hand sanding, so... I'm just going to chalk that up to that. Once I get the hand sanding on here, that should relieve some of that rough look to it. Cord is getting stuck on stuff. That's no good. Yes, this is always a little difficult kind of coming back after not doing a section like this for a while, because you kind of want to match what you've done before, but you might be holding the thing a little firmer, you might be holding a little softer, you might be putting down a little more pressure than before, a little less pressure. So it is a little bit of a trial getting kind of that same look that we had going before. But I think we're going to be fine. Again, it looks a little rough. Once I get the hand sander in there, that should fix things up a little bit. Now, I'm kind of excited for next week. It should be good times. We're going to try to make this thing good times. I think it's going to be a little special. Okay, so this looks, like I said, really, really bad, but let's just see if we can do a little bit of this just to kind of smooth things over a little bit. Yeah, alright, quick little once over there, and it's already starting to smooth over. I'm not going to spend too long on this. This part I can finish off camera, but I do want it to look at least nice before I jump onto a different element. But this will be good. These more things I can just cross off the list. We can say it's done, and then we can now officially move on without having to go, oh, I didn't do that one, oh, didn't do that. No, it's having these kind of catch-up days are always it's just good to finally cross things off the list. Big fan of just crossing things off a list. This is why we make lists, so you can cross things off of it. I do this at work all the time, punch list at the end. We call them punch lists. Where once you get kind of near an end of a project, I will put down everything on that list. It'll be maybe cut window trim, prime window trim, paint window trim, install it, fill holes. Not just like put in electrical stuff, but put in like plate covers, put on vent covers. I'll go down to those types of things, put in like door stops, those types of things. I'll list every single piece: baseboard, crown mold, install, prime, paint walls, install like medicine cabinets or whatever, depending on the room we're doing. Then I always leave room at the bottom for the client. If the client can find anything I don't put on this kind of super exhaustive list, I want them to add stuff too, so that when we get through everything in the end, everything is accounted for. So I like having these types of lists because we can cross off. Like I said, this mattress part, I can now cross this mattress part off the list. Getting these guys on here, I can cross that off the list. And that said, there's one element on here, never did finish. As we can see, I did all of these. I didn't do the bottom part because I didn't know how it was going to end underneath here. I didn't know how this part was going to hook in. And I don't know how the top part is going to finish. So I kind of did all these middle ones. Never did this one. So let's go and do that real quick. Now, this shouldn't take more than, I think, about 10 minutes. What are we at now? We're around 20 minutes in. So around the half-hour mark, this one should be done. Then I can jump onto something else for a few minutes. Am I on camera? Yes. So all this stuff you kind of forgot about for the last couple sessions, we're jumping back into right now. And it's okay to have these, like I said, it's okay to have these kinds of days. They're good, this kind of filler. I've been holding on to this type of stuff for basically just for a kind of day or a kind of week like this one's been. I'm actually not doing bad right now, but what I do want to do is going to require some pre-planning to get done right. So when I jump on that, starting on next week's projects, it'll be worth it. But this is why I keep things like this in my back pocket, just kind of fill that void. I don't know why I had the glove on before. I don't really need the glove for this. Yeah, now if I remember, this kind of rough sanding in the start was kind of the time sink on this. Actually doing the detail part that you see actually wasn't that bad. So then again, haven't done this section in a while now, so we will see. That goes down. See if I remember the trick to doing the other part. I'm not sure why I did all of them except this one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of confused myself, but oh well, we're getting it done now. Yeah, no, I will be honest though, my body is just not. I'm trying to find something to talk about, but all I can think of right now is kind of just to make small talk. But all that's got in my head is just the fitness stuff. My body's not happy with just adding. And all I did the other day was add 2 3/4 mile speed elements. They were done in under 5 minutes each. But it's just I haven't done it in so long. And by so long, it's like a month. But it's almost like I have to relearn how to use glucose as a fuel source and not the fat, which if you've been following the ultra stuff, that's kind of one of the main discussion topics I've had several weeks ago, was what the body uses as an energy source, and my body is just not used to using what's being required of it right now. I need to move these planet guys kind of out of the way before stuff happens to them. That and that meteor that I made the other day, this thing, not gonna lie, this thing looks hideous. I might need to redo that, but I'm allowed to say that, I'm sure. The little airship I made is awesome. I love that thing. But meteor, not too great. Okay, I'm just doing this to kind of straighten out the edges a little bit. Once again, this isn't going to hit my thumb. My thumb is actually guiding it. So. Okay, just even though not much of this is seen by the end of it, let's get back to a smooth starting point. Because if you ever use a drum sander, it's always going to have little kind of wobbly things going on in here. So ideally I'd be doing this with a router going through, but with something this delicate, that's why I haven't really decided to use the router on this. Otherwise, a router would be kind of the ideal way to get the general forms that I could use a knife or something to cut, say, inside and get the good sharp edges. But just because this is such a delicate piece is why I've been hesitant to use that. Okay, so let's go draw the edge to this. That's kind of important. Okay. How are we on time? Oh, 27, so is what it is. On camera, yes. Okay, and our goal here is to go deep enough to get by the, of the 3 plies, you want to take the top ply off and just get to the middle ply is the only one showing. Don't drop it. Okay, we're almost there. This last part goes by If my memory serves correct, this last part goes by pretty quick. Alright. I want a little more power than that. That's what we want to see. We want to see what looks like a burn mark. That's actually the glue kind of between the layers. And that's kind of what we're going for. Yeah, sorry I'm not talking that much right now. I have a number of topics I would like to talk about, but they're going to be more appropriate for next week's activities than they are for this one. So, I'm in a weird place in that regard. I was gonna... There are certain topics I want to bring up then, not here, that would just make more sense then. Okay, so we have that now hitting kind of the edge of what I can get away with on the drum sander. And now I see to carve down to get the outside here straight to kind of match that, which we can just follow the colors, and that'll tell us when we get to where we want to be. Because once we work away that kind of black mark, that tells us we're there. And then I'll be able to cross one more thing off the list. And though this may not seem like such a woohoo recording session, we are getting a lot of very important things done. If not having to think about some of these things again, there is a lot of value in that. Plus, this is like a TV show. It's just a recap show, that's all. They happen. There are reasons why they happen, but in this case, just like that. I just need one of these days in my back pocket just to kind of get me from where we are to the good stuff I want to start doing next time. Otherwise, as the body gets used to the physicality that the new norm is kind of becoming, it's going to get used to it, it's going to be fine. It's just these early stages are always kind of rough. The early stages of this stuff it's just what it is. It's part of the game. Yeah, so as I get used to that, then this I'm not going to need to complain about it as much anymore. It's just getting used to this norm. It just is what it is. Now that I have this thing out here, this does make life easier in this regard. Should have been using this thing way earlier on any kind of wood project. Doing Kai's rifle. Kai's rifle probably would have been easier had I used that rather than just a knife for all of the straight edge needs. Okay, I figured around 10 minutes, it's more like 15. That's fine. That's it. I think we're going to do one more element after this, then I'm going to call the video at that point. I still have tassels that aren't done, I still have scrolls that aren't done, still have books that aren't done, so we're not going to get all of this stuff finished. But I figure if anything, these were the better ones to do. We haven't seen them in several sessions now, so it's nice to kind of break them back out again and show some of the stuff we had worked on before but didn't finish. And from the vantage point we're going to be looking at this model from like 90% of the time, these are the ones you're going to see. So there's definitely value in that. I know I still have to do the tops on these, but that's going to be a different time. Still, I kind of figured I was going to get that done by now, but I kept finding other things to work on instead. So that's just the way that is. And just because it is wood, everything gets sanded in the end. This is part of what makes wood projects, and not clay ones. Okay, so we now have at least puts us in a much, much better place. And given what time it is, I'm going to go and make another book. We have two. I've got 2 books and an open book. Let's go make another book or two. I feel like they're more exciting than scrolls, if nothing else. So, and I believe in the end I'm going to want 3 more of these guys. So I'm not going to do all 3 of them right now, but even though this one's relatively recently, to get the spine is just kind of lightly do an edge, just so it's not a 90-degree angle. Kind of come down, so it gives that nice little, it gives the profile so it does actually look like a spine. Maybe carve this just a little bit more so the 2 sides actually, I don't know, kind of look the same. Might be good. Okay, that gives it kind of that same look there. We got the spine in. Let's go with you. We can get this indent for the pages just a little bit. Now, is it easier just to do everything with this? Maybe. Was I on camera? Maybe. Maybe on camera, maybe not. Yeah, it might just be easier doing the whole thing with this. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's kind of finish things off with little kind of runs this way, so if it does indent it, at least it's indenting in a way that seems reasonable. Wow, that just took a couple minutes. What do you know? We now have another book. Except this one, I think I do need just to kind of get the back sides of this thing, what we want it to be. I guess I use that just to kind of give a line for this to stop at. Whoop. Because yeah, again, those cutting wheels, anything with a Dremel has a really hard time getting a good crisp edge, especially in like a little skinny portion like this. So for this, it is worth getting something in here to try to end it nicer. Alright, so we have 3 books now in our pile. Well, I guess 4 if you count the top. But I believe we're going to need 2 more of these doohickeys here to make it right. Let's see, what's our rough sizing of these guys? Actually, they're all different sizes to begin with. I can feel they're all kind of different sizes. I like you. So what are we at? We'll do 1 more. We can do 1 more. It only took a couple minutes, so. Although I have been trying to keep these around 45 minutes-ish, so this will be closer to 50, I guess, in the end. view. Do this real quick. Safely but quick. I don't want to go too much longer than the usual time, but the more of these things we can get done right now, the better. Like I said, next week I have big plans for next week. I'll definitely tune in for those. If I can accomplish what I want to, it should be really, really good times. But it is going to be a different kind of, probably a couple of different kind of sessions coming up in the not too distant future. Again, you want to end in that direction, so if you have any kind of marks in there, they're going the direction of the pages that one would expect to see in the book. Get in there. And there we go. We have another book to add to this. Now, unfortunately, these guys here that I'd started before, you, and you, we're not going to see those in use in a long time. Because before these guys get put on the astrolabe, I need to have all of this stuff done. I need the astrolabe built. I really want to have the legs done first before I do the astrolabe, because that's going to require moving things around and all that. So I made these, but they're going to be probably some of the last things put on here, outside of perhaps Mid himself. So they're nice, but the trick right now is going to be keeping them safe until I get to the, I don't need the mask anymore, until I get to the end of all that. But now that we have this, let's go ahead, do our usual, put everything back together again. And see if this all makes a difference or not. Okay, that's already sitting a little better than it was. We do at least have a more favorable stack of, if I could stack them, of knowledge going on here than we had before, which is good. That's a little more like what it needs to be. I'm getting the globe. Can't forget the world. World has to go back in here because that's all we see on the thumbnails every time. We're still rocking. But I can push this down and have it work. So that's the important part. And scrolls. Scrolls. Well, I have one more finished one, which probably rolled off the... Oh, no, there it is. The other guys we'll hold off on, but at least we do have, like I said, it's not huge changes this time, but it is nice having a little more on this side here to kind of go off of. That helps. Having some more books done on that is good. Having more of that done. Just the stuff we did was really good. It doesn't make the big visual impact. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the thumbnail on this one, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. But we do have real progress in here. Like I said, hold off next time. The next time is going to be an exciting session. I have some big plans for that one. So hold off on that one. And until then, And until that next time comes, enjoy.